Have you ever applied for life insurance? If you have, you know it can feel, well, less like a simple purchase and more like a full-blown interrogation, right? The endless questions, digging into your medical history, all that paperwork, it all seems so incredibly complicated. But what if I told you that all that complexity is the very thing holding the entire system together?
It's a totally fair question, and you're not alone in asking it. Insurers themselves are constantly wrestling with this. I mean, everyone wants a faster, simpler process, so why does it stay so detailed? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right here. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll meet the essential gatekeeper of the insurance world and see exactly how they size up risk. Then we'll explore the big push for simplicity and why that can be so tempting. But we'll also uncover a hidden danger called adverse selection. It'll all come together in the end, I promise. And you'll see it's this constant, delicate balancing act.
Okay, so to really get the why behind all those forms and questions, we need to introduce you to the gatekeeper of the entire industry, the underwriting process. Underwriting is basically the engine room of an insurance company. It's their method for figuring out how risky a potential customer is, the likelihood they'll actually have to pay out a claim for that person. At the end of the day, it's all about assessing risk.
Now, this might flip a common misconception on its head. The goal of underwriting isn't to find excuses to say no to people. It's actually the opposite. It's about sorting everyone into the right risk group and charging a fair price for that group. This is what keeps the whole system stable, so it can actually pay claims when people need it most.
So how do they actually do that? How do they calculate that risk? Well, the whole process really breaks down into three main areas of investigation. Think of them as the three pillars of underwriting. So the investigation is focused on these three things. First up, you've got medical underwriting. That's your health history, the stuff you'd expect. Second is lifestyle underwriting, which looks at things like, do you have a risky job or any dangerous hobbies? And third is financial underwriting, which just makes sure the amount of insurance you're buying actually makes sense. Each piece helps them build a complete picture. Medical underwriting is the one we all think of first, all those health questions. Every single factor you see here, from your age to your family's medical history, is a data point. It's not personal, it's purely statistical. Each one correlates with life expectancy. They're basically building a giant data model to predict risk as accurately as possible. Okay, so that all sounds pretty thorough. And you can see why it would be slow and kind of expensive, right? And that has led to this huge push within the industry to make things much, much simpler. And you can't blame them. The business case for making it simpler is incredibly powerful. A faster, less annoying process means more people will sign up. Boom, more sales. At the same time, it slashes all those administrative costs. And when you combine more sales with lower costs, well, you get a very clear path to higher profits. You can see why it's so tempting. But, like any shortcut in life, it comes with a pretty serious trade-off. For every single pro, like happier customers and lower costs, there's a really big potential con lurking on the other side. And the biggest, most dangerous one on that list is something called adverse selection. And this brings us to the hidden villain of the insurance world, adverse selection. It is the one thing that can completely unravel an insurer's business model if they're not super, super careful. Okay, so here's how it works. If an insurer makes its questions too simple, it can't really tell the difference between high-risk people and low-risk people anymore. So what do? They just charge everybody an average price. Now, for a really healthy person, that price seems too high. But for a person who knows they have some health issues, it looks like the deal of a lifetime. So, who do you think ends up buying the policy? You got it! The people who know it's a bargain for them. And pretty soon, the insurer's left with a pool of customers that is way riskier than they planned for, leading to a whole lot more claims than they ever budgeted for. Honestly, this analogy just nails it. Imagine an all-you-can-eat buffet that charges everyone the same super low price. Who's going to show up? The biggest eaters in town, right? Pretty soon, the business is completely overwhelmed by customers who are consuming way more value than they paid for, and the whole model just collapses. That's adverse selection in a nutshell. And believe me, the damage doesn't stop there. Adverse selection is just the first domino to fall. It sets off a crazy chain reaction that can threaten the entire company. So first, their pricing gets all out of whack. Then, the reinsurers, the companies that insure the insurance companies, they get really nervous and either jack up their prices or just walk away. Then, regulators might step in and demand the company holds more money in reserve because its future looks so shaky.
All of this can lead to financial instability and ultimately destroy the company's reputation, making it impossible to attract any customers.
So, this brings us full circle, right back to that central challenge. How on earth do insurers find the right balance between the speed and simplicity we all want and the safety their business absolutely needs to survive? So, here is the real takeaway from all of this. Those complicated questions, they aren't there just to slow things down or annoy you. Think of them as the balancing pole for a tightrope walker. They allow the insurer to move forward and stay competitive without risking a catastrophic fall. It's this constant, delicate search for that perfect equilibrium. And this leaves us with a fascinating and kind of huge question for the future. With technology like fitness trackers and genetic data becoming more common, insurers might soon be able to assess risk almost instantly. The process could become seamless. But that raises a whole new trade-off, doesn't it? How much of our personal data are we, as individuals, willing to give up for that convenience? It's a balance we're all going to have to think about.